Flag detail. Post. Colors. Good morning. I'm Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Donovan Douglas, this year's Crimson Tide Battalion Commander. I would like to thank you all for watching this video as we commemorate Veterans Day 2020. Obviously, due to COVID-19 and restrictions in place, we had to conduct a virtual Veterans Day program, as it is still our duty to honor those who chose to serve our country and are still continuing to serve. I would personally like to thank the MHS Student Council, who we have partnered with this year, and were very willing and able to help us make this virtual ceremony possible. During this video, you will learn about the meaning and the history of Veterans Day. Additionally, we will have some of our student council members, JROTC cadets, and veterans themselves telling us what Veterans Day means to them. Lastly included will be a short video that honors all veterans of this great nation. I will now be followed by Cadet First Lieutenant Edwards, this year's Crimson Tide Public Affairs Officer.
Good morning. I'm Cadet First Lieutenant Edwards, and today we are here to honor all of our veterans who unselfishly placed their lives on the line for our freedom. Those men and women were ordinary people until they heard the call of duty and answered it. They left their families and their homes and their lives, not for recognition or fame, or not even the honor we bestow upon them today. They fought to protect our country, to maintain our way of life. On the 11th day of the 11th hour of the 11th month, the fighting of World War I ended in 1918. Due to the conclusion of the war to end all wars, November 11th became a universally recognized day of celebration. The day originally declared Armistice Day, 8 years after the end of World War I, and honored only veterans of that war. Then in 1954, after World War II and the Korean War, it was renamed Veterans Day, to honor all veterans who served America in war and defended democracy. On Veterans Day, we honor every man and woman who's ever worn the uniform of our nation, those who've selflessly secured America's promise throughout our history. That same history teaches us that security doesn't just happen. It demands effort, sacrifice, courage, and commitment. It requires generations of men and women willing to go to distant lands. As the Korean War Memorial in Washington says, defend countries they've never knew and people they've never met. Today we salute the service of all veterans, and we keep in our thoughts and prayers of the fallen, the missing, and those who right now are serving in harm's way. We also remember that honoring those who served isn't just about what we say here today. It's about how we honor veterans every day of the year. It's remaining committed to supporting them and their families in every way that we possibly can. It's about serving them as well as they've served and continue to serve our nation. That's a sacred trust between America and all who defend its ideas. It's a trust that's been forged by soldiers and airmen who liberated Europe and sailors who liberated the Pacific. It's a trust embodied by Marines who etched a legacy at Iwo Jima, and Coast Guardmen who stood watch on our shores. It's a trust extolled by the 8th Army who drove enemy forces back to the 38th parallel. The man who led them, General Matthew Ridgway, once said, "Never have we had a greater challenge or a finer opportunity to show ourselves and our people at their best, to do honor to the professionalism of arms and to those brave men who bred us." On Veterans Day, we come together to honor with gratitude our extraordinary veterans and military families and their service to our country. However, on Memorial Day, we honor the final resting places of more than 1 million men and women who sacrificed their lives for our nation by decorating their graves with stars and stripes, as the generations have done since 1868. We also proudly fly America's beautiful flag at our homes, businesses, and in our community parades to honor their memory. In doing so, we pledge our nation's allegiance to the great cause of the freedom for which they fought and ultimately died for. Both of these national holidays are meant to celebrate military, but there is a distinct line between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Today, we not only remember those who served in war, but everyone who chose a life of service to our great nation. The President of the United States has declared November 11, 2020 as Veterans Day. He encourages all Americans to recognize the valor and sacrifice of our veterans through appropriate public ceremonies and private prayers. He has called upon federal, state, and local officials to display the flag of the United States and to participate in patriotic activities in their communities. He also called on all Americans, including civic and fraternal organizations, places of worship, schools, and communities, to support this day with commemorative expressions and programs. On behalf of Minden High School and the Crimson Tide Army JROTC Battalion, we honor your duty and sacrifice and service to America. Thank you. I will now be followed by the Student Council President, Lily Spillers.
What do you think of when you think of the word veteran?
Family. Strength. Bold.
Leaders.
Patriotism.
Integrity.
Heroes.
Courage.
Honor.
Freedom.
Brave.
Respect.
Loyalty. Appreciation.
Valor.
Selfless service.
Dedication.
The Army from 1981 till 2002.
I was in the United States Navy from 1994 to 2002.
I was in the Army National Guard. I served from 1989 to 1996.
I served in the Army National Guard for 2 years, and I served in the United States Air Force for 10 years.
I was in the United States Army from 1990 to 2010.
I was in the Army. I went in when did I graduate? 1978, and I got out in 2009.
I served 1990 to 1995. I was in the Louisiana Army National Guard.
I just thought I needed to. I just thought that I needed to give something back, God and country, you know.
Really, every bit of it. I can tell you that running in formation with 1,000 Marines at once, doing Jody calls at 5:30 in the morning was fantastic. Low crawling through the jungle at 2 o'clock in the morning where you couldn't see your hand in your face with explosions going around all the time was fantastic.
I would encourage them to do so. I mean, we have 5 branches of service that they could join. All of them offer regular service where they could go full time. A lot of them offer part-time service like your guard units and your reserve units. And it's one, a great experience. 2, you get to have training in any field of study that you want to. They also offer assistance in helping you with furthering your education beyond just the military service. And I'm not a recruiter, but I will tell anybody that if you ever want to find a way to do something and get more experience and enjoy seeing the world and stuff like that, it's great. And you can join up and stay here in Minden also. You know, it's just a great opportunity.
Probably when I went over to Hawaii. Hawaii is very beautiful and it's very fun. If you get a chance, go to Hawaii.
For me, it was easy. I wanted to fly, so that's what I pursued. You know, just like most young people, I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I did, and it turned out to be a great career for me.
I think meeting other people, yeah.
It's a great way to serve your country, and also if you're looking to get a free college education, GI Bill is a great way to go.
It's just a day to say thank you to the people that were willing to put their life on the line for our country. Because for all its faults, it's still the best place in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Veterans Day is just it's all about sacrifices. I can't tell you how many Marines and sailors that I personally buried being a chaplain, and they've given their lives for your freedom, and it's about sacrifice, and that's why it's an honor to serve, and that's why I say go for it. It is awesome, and everything about the military is cool anyway. But it's all about sacrifice.
Veterans Day means a lot. Veterans Day, also Memorial Day too, because on both sides of that, sometimes people get them confused. But Veterans Day is one of those things where you get to, one, it's not so much that we want to be recognized or anything like that, but in this particular setting as a teacher, a lot of students up here don't realize that we have quite a few veterans on our staff, and it gives us a chance to, one, answer questions to students about some of our experiences. Most people don't realize that to become a veteran you have to have a particular set of events occur. Whether it be that you've served your time in training, you've served overseas in a war zone or something like that. So it gives you a chance to help enlighten some of them, you know, on some of the experiences that you went through and how it was.
Veteran Day means to me, I think back, all races, creeds, and colors of people who served for the United States, for our democracy, for our freedom. All those guys and gals, they mean a whole lot to me that they served throughout the history of our nation.
It, you know, every year that it comes around, you know, Veterans Day is for those who have served, who are still with us. So I certainly think about those that I served with, and but I can never not think about those who have left us as well. So it's about, as I said earlier, it's about the people.
Veterans Day to me is a way of celebrating those that served before us, that made it a little bit easier for us to be in. So it's here to me.
Veterans Day to me means a time to remember people who sacrificed for this country, for the freedoms that we all enjoy today. It's a time to appreciate the things that we have and to be proud that we're Americans.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. To support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. And to bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. That I will obey. The orders of. The President of the United States. And the orders of. Those officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
We celebrate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. The armistice that began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The timing of this holiday is quite deliberate in terms of historical fact. But somehow it always seems quite fitting to me that this day comes deep in autumn, when the colors are muted and the days seem to invite contemplation. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country in defense of us in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise, but most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up two lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. And all we can do is remember. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. In memory of those who gave the last full measure of devotion, may our efforts to achieve lasting peace gain strength. Let us make a vow to our dead. Let us show them by our actions that we understand what they died for. Strengthened by their courage, heartened by their value, and borne by their memory, let us continue to stand for the ideals for which they lived and died.
In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. We shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
We would like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to watch this video. Despite COVID-19 and restrictions, it is important now, more than ever, to honor those who have chosen to serve this great nation and who provided us the very freedom that we enjoy as citizens today in this great nation, the United States of America.